Another category of rudiments that we've really lost the context for, and these are rudiments associated with trooping ceremonies. And I think you have to understand a little more about this context for these rudiments to make much sense. A very important ceremony in 18th and early 19th century militaries was a trooping ceremony, and this involved the trooping of the colors before the regiment. Most of the soldiers in those armies were illiterate or semi-literate, and they would not have too much of a reason to understand a sign that was written for them, because they mostly couldn't read. So they would memorize their regimental colors, and this becomes very important. Keeping the regimental flags together. If they lose them in a battle, great disgrace. And keeping the colors, very important. And you would parade the colors in front of the regiment. You march very slowly with a flag hanging down so you can see the whole flag, and you march very slowly up and down in front of the regiment so the soldiers would know if they got lost on the field, this would be a rallying point. They would know the shapes and symbols and the colors of their regimental flag, and they would know that that's where they belong. So it's very important for the soldiers to memorize every detail of that flag. So you would need the flag to be paraded very slowly in front of the troops so they would really memorize their particular colors. And one of the types of marches used for this was a series of 3/8 marches. You'd march one step per measure in a 3/8. So you'd be marching 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, left, right, and the flag would very slowly progress across the regiment so the soldiers would memorize the flag. There's a series of rudiments that are used for this. The drag paradiddle number 1, which students often wonder, what the heck is that doing? We don't have any context for it anymore, really, because it naturally does fall into that 3/8 kind of rhythm. The drag paradiddle number 1, in one of its versions, sounds like this. Also, the double paradiddle. You say to a contemporary drummer, I think, you say, play double paradiddles, and we immediately think maybe 2 4-meter 16th note triplets. But it's not that way. They would fill up a whole measure of this 3/8 time with it. Often with a lot more accents than we would think of. And a third rudiment that's used in these trooping ceremonies, which we tend to wonder why it ever got included in a list of rudiments, is the famous flam paradiddle diddle, which people just tend to think is awkward, just something cruel devised by drumming teachers at some point. But in the 3/8 context, it works out just fine. And again, there are different accents that are used in different periods. That's a detail that we don't have to go into. So I'll give you an idea of how these rudiments can fit into the kind of phrasing that you could encounter in one of these trooping ceremonies. Kind of idea would work. You'd never find all those rudiments crammed into such a short space, but that shows you how they would work in the context of a 3/8 troop.